It's Not Another Buffalo Podcast, hosted by three of the most underqualified sports personalities this side of the canal. With John.
There's no way in hell that I can leave that in, right?
You don't think so? Well, to quote Rage Against the Machine, what better place than here? And, what better time than now?
And Brando.
We have this trust built on, whatever it is, like Bibles and gold bricks and whatever Brandon Bean's drinking over there.
All right, welcome back to Not Another Buffalo Podcast. I'm John. Here are the boys, Pat and Brando, here on a Tuesday evening. You can find us on all platforms at Not Buff Podcast. Want to take a second to thank our sponsor, Small City Realty. If you're looking to buy, sell, or manage property in Western New York, you know who to call. Zach Korzelius at Small City Realty, 585-409-1088. And then any links to stuff that he has available in the area, I will put in the show notes. So check it out, 585-409-1088. Boys, how we doing? A little bit further removed. I don't know how it's shaking out for you guys. Denial is still the best medicine for me at this point. Have we moved into acceptance at all? Didn't want to start here, I guess, but
I'm going to take a quote from Josh Allen interview today. I believe he spoke with Rob Maddie. The question to Allen was, how does he feel following the AFC Championship loss to the Kansas City Chiefs? And it was 2 words. Can you guess those 2 words?
Not good.
That's a good guess.
I was going to say not good.
It sucks. It sucks. That's Allen's response. That's my response. I hate it. I hate the Chiefs. I hate the Eagles. What is happening? Are we watching Sunday? I'm not watching Sunday. It sucks. It's sad.
I know that this has been beaten to death, but let's talk about it. I'm not watching the Super Bowl. I have better things to do than to watch this game. This is the first time in my life, in my memorable lifetime, that I actually won't be watching the game.
And
for anything.
And it's scary to think, obviously we want, funding to continue to go to the sport that we love and that we cover and stuff. But hopefully this is a wake up call to the NFL that if they lose viewers significantly on this game, that they need to reconsider, the way that these games are officiated and the preferences that certain players get, both in the media and on the field. So I'm with you guys. I might have it on just because, my son likes to watch TV, but I got to do homework anyways. So I don't really want to watch it.
The part where you talk about funding, Pat, is they're going to be fine. They don't need to do anything. As soon as they get their TV deal monies, they break even. That's without selling a ticket. That's without any merchandise. That's without the $40 hot dog that you buy. NFL is going to be fine funding wise. Now, you said you're going to have it on. Now, I was talking to one of the moms that drops and picks up their kids at my school. And she was like, you have to have your TV on, but it cannot be on the game. It needs to show that you chose something else to watch for the ratings, that you tuned in somewhere else besides the Super Bowl. That's a good idea. I will do that. I'll put on the most obscure Bob Ross video, whatever. I don't care what it is, but it's not going to be Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes on the TV. Jalen Hurts, I don't like him either. So Saquon's the only likable guy in this game, I think.
I 100% agree with that. 1,000%. I feel like a lot of people feel that way. Yeah. But I like Saquon. I don't care about the Eagles. I don't even like Nick Sirianni that much, and I know he's a Buffalo guy, and people so I should be rooting for him. But I don't love him. He's had some antics before and stuff like that. Jalen Hurts
probably feels the same way when he goes to his other coach to ask for advice instead of going to Nick Sirianni, and that caused a little bit of a rift. But people don't talk about it because they won, right? They're winning. So.
There is, I don't know. It's a very weird dynamic down there, considering they almost fired him after that Buccaneers loss last year. So I don't know.
They had a weird end of the season. They kind of fell off a cliff.
If it were possible for both teams to lose, that would be the ideal outcome. But
Kendrick Lamar's like, Team Kendrick, we win.
That's such a pastiche as well, dude. I feel like, I don't know, I'm just so jaded about all of this. Kendrick Lamar, do we really need this 40-year-old man coming up here dissing another 40-year-old man while they what does the world come to? I don't know. I just feel like and he's already performed there. You're telling me you couldn't get someone else? You're telling me you couldn't get Aubrey Drake out there because you're worried what?
People decline it, right? It's kind of a known thing. People decline the halftime show.
You don't make money, right, doing it. It's all the money you would make is for public exposure or whatever.
Yeah. Which is so funny. It's the biggest gig that pays you for exposure. Now, yes, you get a bump in streams, you get all that stuff. You get a production budget, so the artists aren't paying out of pocket for the show. But yeah, No, it's the exposure show for sure.
You get a bump in viewership if you do a good job.
No Janet Jackson
That's
pun
the
intended
thing, right?
on that last one. Sorry.
Still might be one of the most viewed clips on YouTube of all time. And Kendrick's not touching that. And it makes it a lot longer. The game goes a lot longer. The halftime show, when I was a kid, we were going to bed at halftime. And my students go to bed at halftime. And it's like, I'm not too worried about missing it. I haven't been worried about missing it in quite some time. It's a good time to regroup and eat some food or get your stuff done. But there's a lot of other things that can be done besides watching this garbage on TV. And I'm in a predicament, Pat. And you brought this to light when you gave us the trivia of quarterbacks that lose the Super Bowl on their first time going, don't win again. So that pretty much locks in the three-peat for the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the math there correctly. So that's a little disappointing, but I think any bettors in the world should take a look at that and think, I don't even know what the odds are at the moment for this game. Anybody know what it is?
I don't. I just know it's been one guy in the past 30 years to do it. That's it. So.
Chiefs are -1.5, I think.
So you get decent odds then.
My pick right now, you could go Chiefs -1.5, Eagles +2.5. I'm going for Meteor +10,000 right now is what my pick is. That's actually pretty crappy odds, to be honest with you, but I'm still taking it. Yeah. But anyway, Brandon, you were kind of transitioning this there already. Do you guys want to just hop into this top 10?
Sure. I didn't mean to do that. It's just like, it's the first thing on my mind.
Let's do it. I mean, like, we got to keep this episode under 30 minutes. We're 6 minutes in. Let's get to the top 10 here. So the top 10 this week, we used to do this as kind of fill in the blank, but we're going to do it as a top 10 this time. You guys remember John's top 10? We're doing a collaborative top 10 because I can't come up with all this stuff on my own. So we're going to do the top 10 things I'd rather do than watch this Super Bowl. So I'll start us off here. Number 10. I'd rather attend the Grammys wearing the same outfit as Kanye's date last night. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Very, very bold choice.
Yeah. Number 9, Pat.
Yeah, well, I'd want to check, see what the temperature was outside of the Grammys, make sure it's above like 60 degrees or whatever. But I would listen to and respond to all 72 of my unread work voicemails. Sorry.
Number 8, Brando.
I would load up my laundry, walk 4 flights of stairs down my apartment, walk around the block, put my laundry in the car, drive to the laundromat, spend 2 hours at the laundromat, pay to do the laundry, fold the laundry myself, bring it back, lug it up the stairs, put it away, and fold it all away.
That sounds like what you're going to do on Sunday.
It's got to be. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to pay the ladies to do it this time. I'm going to do it myself just to spend the extra time there. Yeah.
Brando's growing up, guys.
$1.10 a pound, man. It's like, why not? Why not have him do it? So this time I just want to get away. So,
all right, number 7. I'd rather give Justin Tucker a massage.
Oh. that's adventurous.
All right, number 6, Pat.
I'd rather practice darts on my Nick Wright and Dominique Foxworth themed board. Don't forget what Dominique said about Buffalo Bills fans either. I don't know if you guys remember.
You gotta refresh me.
He said that Buffalo Bills fans were people that wave American flags and probably like dogs, insinuating that Buffalo Bills fans were racist. So yeah, and he takes every opportunity he can to hate on the Bills. And Nick Wright, I mean, he just also is. Yeah, he's Kansas City. Right. He's the Kansas City version of us, so I can't really hate. At least he's a homer. Yeah,
but hey, large chance of a bullseye if you got his nose in the middle of that dartboard. So
yes.
All right, number 5, Brando.
Drive to Batavia, which is an hour from me. Wait in line at the DMV to get my license renewed.
Nice.
I hate waiting in line.
You know what? The Batavia DMV is really not that bad compared.
It's not that bad.
So I've gone to a DMV around here, and it's been like 3-4 hours to wait. Yeah. I don't think there's ever been more than a 10-minute line at the Batavia DMV. Small town
drive. It's the drive. I don't want to drive.
About the drive.
I'm not driving with an expired license anyway. So
nice. All right, what are we at? Number 4, I'd rather share a bath with my toaster.
Oh.
I don't think there's any more future items to do on the list after that one.
No, that's it. Yeah. Number 3, Pat.
Watch or listen to anything by Shane Gillis. Tires is terrible. I can't believe I said
you didn't like
3
Tires?
episodes of that. No.
I think that's the point of the show is it's so bad that it's funny.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Well, Pat's going to be watching it on Sunday. Anything else?
Yes,
Anything
I will
else,
watch.
Right?
Yes.
All right. Number 2, Brando.
Go back to the dentist to get part 2 of my root canal done.
Nice. And the number one thing that I'd rather do than watch this Super Bowl, watch the Sabres sober. So that's my top one.
That's tough.
Yeah. So I felt like they deserve it.
It's kind of a good transition into a Sabres update too. If you want
we should. Anyone got any honorable mentions left over while we have them?
Let me see. I have listening to the Grammys on mute.
Brandon, you got anything? No,
not anything.
The only one I had left over was let Antonio Brown manage my finances. Yeah. But that seems like an equally good idea.
Watch the Patriots play in the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say, actually, I did not flip the channel when I was flipping around and NFL Network had on the Patriots Giants Super Bowl, because you see that and it has a good ending, right? Yes, so it's like that's the kind of movie you stick around for. But anyway, these Sabres, what are they? Is it still 3-1 right now?
3-2. It's 3-2 Blue Jackets. It's coming. Right. I hope you bet that money line on the Blue Jackets.
Totally didn't bet Blue Jackets plus 2.5 right before we hopped on here, because those Sabres are definitely a first period team. If anything, sometimes they're a no period team, but I don't know. Lot to talk about with the hit. What was that guy's name?
Stefan Nielsen.
Hey, Tage Thompson up top. What's the Bills' equivalent of that? Josh Allen gets leveled and concussed, right?
Bounce, probably.
And then Jordan Phillips just like picks the guy up and like
carries him down the tunnel.
Gives him a high five.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Come on, guys.
It takes me back. Now you have to think about this. It takes me back to when Chris Drury gets rocked by Chris Neal, who is I'm going to call him a thug.
This is the Drew Stafford thing, right?
Drew Stafford's a 21-year-old rookie, and he jumps Chris Neal because his fearless leader, Chris Drury, is knocked out cold with blood in a pool on the ice. And this young, scrawny Drew Stafford, highly touted prospect's like, I'm getting him. I'm going for him.
So does that make it all the more disappointing what we're seeing these days, and look like kind of the joke of not just what the franchise is, but what the response was against the Columbus, Ohio Blue Jackets for this game, where they're like, we're just going to tee up on a Columbus Blue Jacket this game to send a message to our fans that we're not soft. Like
literally, they don't even care. They're just like wearing all their Ohio State national champion T-shirts under their Blue Jackets jerseys. But I mean, I guess just from like a physics standpoint, that had to be a pretty brutal hit, right? Tage Thompson's got to be, he's what, like 6'7" without skates.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe they were in awe at the pure amount of physical force exerted to knock a man like Tage.
They must have been in awe of something. I don't know what's going on there. But
okay, I'm reading about this right now.
Give us something to cheer for. We don't need the points at this point.
Just do something. It doesn't matter if you're going to lose the fight. You have to do something. You have to do something. And it's just a joke. The league knows the Sabres are a joke. The Sabres know that the Sabres are a joke. I think anybody that was on the ice at that point and your back is not turned to the play, because there's a couple of players on that ice, I think they didn't see it happen. But Samuelson's comments after the game, he regrets what happened. He said, I should have done something. I didn't think about it. And they're going for the win. And they're in 29th place in the league. Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you win this game. You're going to suck. You suck already. You're losing. You're not making the playoffs. Go answer the bell for the only bright spot of this Buffalo Sabres hockey team in the last 5 years. Tage Thompson. You go to a Sabres game and you see a Tage Thompson hat trick. It's the only player I've seen score multiple hat tricks in person, and he brings it.
Same.
And you can't answer the bell for your best player. It's insane.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I just that makes me want to ask this question, and like I think we got to put a time clock on this because this is a long discussion. But I don't know. All things considered, who's more frustrating, the Bills or the Sabres?
Sabres, bro. Sabres. I'll take it. The Bills could lose. The Bills could lose in the playoffs every single year, but it doesn't matter. At least I'll have that pipe dream that we could string 2 or 3 together. It's a lot easier to say we could string 2 or 3 games together than saying, oh, but we're just gonna win 12 in a row with a 0.0001% chance, and all 29 teams in the NHL aside from the Sabres have to lose.
They could win 12 in a row, and they have 47 points right now, so they're in 29th place. If they win tonight, they'll be tied with the Kraken for 28th place. The next closest playoff team is 13 points ahead.
Yeah, so they're still going to be well out of it, I think.
So
even after that. But
John,
I was just thinking of it from a standpoint, because obviously the expectations for the Sabres are down here and the execution is down here. And the expectation for the Bills is up here. And for the most part, they execute. But then you have those heartbreaking losses where you're so close to breaking through the ceiling and you don't get there. So obviously it's expectation. Bruce Nolan saying expectations minus reality equals disappointment, right? Yeah. So no expectations for the Sabres minus the disappointment kind of evens out. It's the same equation as the expectations minus more disappointment from the Bills, where it's not more disappointment, but it's more agony when they lose that game. Whereas like if I go watch a Sabres loss, I mean, that's what I call a Tuesday. Whereas like if the Bills lose, it's like, it's a tough day, you know?
Yeah. It's Black Monday the next day.
Right. So I don't know.
I don't know
which one is more frustrating. I don't feel anything with the Sabres. The Sabres don't make me feel feelings at all. Yeah. It's just like, oh, that's disappointing. Oh, that's sad. Oh, that's frustrating. But
I think this is you kind of gave it a good rundown of the expectations versus reality. And I'm going to say the Bills are more frustrating because of the way that they're losing. They're losing on coaching gaffes. They're losing on, I don't want to say the refs making them lose because they had a chance to win, but there's frustrating things that are occurring during these games. You get a lead with 13 seconds left. As long as 13 seconds exists in this world and we're a Super Bowl caliber team with an MVP caliber quarterback, the Bills will always be more frustrating to me. Because like you said, the Sabres are a dumpster fire piece of garbage organizationally from top to bottom, not letting Lindy Ruff hire his own staff. Like, you're joke. I say it again, you're joke. And to have this.
You're saying that like Lindy Ruff said that about the hit on Ryan Miller. Like everything is down the same. It's a joke. It's a joke.
That changed the franchise forever. And I have friends that are Bruins fans and they root for the Sabres. I'm like, what a joke you guys are. How could you do that?
Yeah,
Milan Lucic changed the history of this organization. And you can go to a Sabres game and you can watch this team and call yourself a Sabres fan, and then you put on all your Boston stuff. To like the Boston Bruins and the Buffalo Sabres in the same sentence is asinine, and it makes you look pathetic, I think, as a hockey fan.
You're not. Let's be clear though, because we're not trying to throw friend of the show Nate Jonathan under the bus at all.
I'm throwing Nate Jonathan. I'm throwing CJ Norton. I'm throwing Tim Martell. You guys are idiots. No, I don't even care. I'll say it on here. Milan Lucic changed the trajectory of this franchise. Lindy Ruff said it. The Sabres fell apart after nobody stood up for their Vezina winning MVP goalie. And you couldn't do anything, and you're going to root for that team. The Bruins disgust me. I've gotten away from them now that there's some different players on the team, and they have players like, Brad Marchand's kind of a little rat, but if he was a rat, on my team, I would love him. But to me, stuff like this, it changes your team. Just like 13 seconds changed the locker room for the Bills. Moments like this change your team forever. And the Bruins changed the Sabres history for the next 15 years. And to like what you said, John, I have no feelings. The feeling that I have when I'm at a game and I don't have a cup holder or the mesh cushion under my seat and pay $20 for a beer to watch this garbage. And they have such a bad home record. And I don't know. Thanks for bringing us the black and red. The black and red jerseys. Yeah. That's cool. Like, but no, Bills are.
I was gonna say they always dangle the carrot, right? So it was the blue and gold jerseys a couple of years ago. Like that was enough, honestly, to get me invested in. We've had some good moments, like the Donnie Meatballs years. Like for the most part, I'll remember fondly, even though they didn't make the playoffs any of those years. But I really think for me the answer is the Bills too, because it's like if you're talking about which one of these franchises causes me more agony, it's the hope that kills you. The entire city of Buffalo and all of its inhabitants are a little bit high on the hopium. And that's just just where we live as a franchise, because I don't know, like we had a lot of fun during those 17 years of drought playoffs. Like it was frustrating. I'm not trying to, what is it called?
Did you expect them to be good then though?
Yeah. Well, after you have a 17-year playoff drought, you're like, this has got to turn. They got to be good at some point. I didn't expect a Josh Allen level player. I expected a franchise to be just trying to get to the playoffs. I'm trying to think of like a good example of a team that's consistently made it to the playoffs, but hasn't made it deep at all.
Ravens, I guess, would be.
Probably.
They won a Super Bowl.
That's the tough part. Is it's so hard to be. It's so hard to be good as consistently as the Bills and Chiefs are good. There's no other team that has won a playoff game in the last 5 years. Up until this year, it was 3 years in a row. Now it's 4 years in a row. The Bills and Chiefs are the only teams to win a playoff game in all of those 4 seasons. Like
no team has won 78 games over that span and not made a Super Bowl appearance either. So that's another thing.
So it's like you're so close, and the team that you're trying to get past is in your own conference. Like if the Bills were in the NFC, it'd be a totally different story. So,
well, I mean, we go to 3 straight Super Bowls and lose those too against Chiefs, so that'd be worse. I think I'd rather get bounced in the AFC Championship game.
I think a lot of it has to do, like you're saying, with the expectation aspect of it. Like I think fondly also of like even that 2019 season or that 2020 season, because it's like I don't know, for lack of a better analogy, like when you go on those first couple dates with a girl and like that, it finally starts to click and you're like, holy crap, she really likes me. And then you're like, okay, well, the chase is over. I guess I have a girl that likes me, over. And I feel like there's something to be said. Even you're talking about that 99 Sabres team, that would be and that's what made this year so fulfilling for me as a fan, if nothing else, is that, I didn't expect it to happen. And so I feel like I think that's got to be a combination of low pressure, high results for me to continue watching without inflicting bodily harm upon myself.
But it's still the hope that kills it, because as soon as you get to that game, you're like, the opportunity's there. It's like right, you're there, you're at the doorstep. Like I am also, Pat, trying to tell myself that to cope, because all in all, I would have signed up for this at the beginning of the season. I would have signed up for AFC Championship loss, because
leading in the fourth quarter as well. Too.
Exactly.
With the ball driving to go up 2 scores.
Right. We all would have signed up for that at the beginning of the season with where the expectations were at. We were all thinking like, man, 10-7, that'd be great. Like we'd all be, and we watched this team over deliver, and we're in better cap situation for next year. So that's what I want to ask you guys about too, because obviously there's, lots of stuff to talk about here. Myles Garrett requesting a trade. I don't know if you guys have thought about that at all. How much are you willing to give up for a Myles Garrett type player on this team? And how much of a difference do you think it would make?
3 firsts.
Think
about the first round picks Brandon Beane has made. Would you trade Kaiir Elam and
I'd trade Ed Oliver.
AJ Epinesa, second round pick. Greg Rousseau, first round pick.
Yeah. You package Kaiir Elam, Keon Coleman, and Ed Oliver for Greg Rousseau. Would you do it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with the tape.
Me too.
With the tape Kaiir Elam's got out on him, I don't think he could play.
No, but just think about the picks that Brandon Beane has made, right? The future Kaiir Elam here. Think about the picks that have hit. Trey White, Josh Allen, only 2 first rounders. Ed Oliver is a fringe good player.
Same with Greg Rousseau.
Or even Edmonds, I guess you could say.
Edmonds. But he had a ceiling, right? He was this good, and we needed him to be this good, and he never got there. So, give me whatever you want. The stats on Myles Garrett, nobody will have more sacks than him before age 30, period, in the NFL in history. He turns 30 in December, I believe. He's got 102.5 sacks, and he's third all-time right now. So he's going to have 10 more games to get like 5 more sacks. 14.5 sacks. His pressure rate is through the roof. His quick pressure rate is through the roof. He gets his average time to get to the quarterbacks 2.2 seconds, and he leads the league in incompletions forced, interceptions forced, all these huge stats. If you added him, now the part about it is like getting Keon Coleman on this team. It would have been cool to have Keon and Diggs on the same roster, and it would be great to have.
Would it?
Yeah, I think it would have been. It would have been great. You don't have to deal with this coverage that the Bills saw 2 high safeties, the least amount in the NFL this year, because teams are thinking we cannot push the ball down the sidelines, and we're not going to play that on you anymore. So the Bills were 30th. I guess there was 2 other, 30th in the league. Is there 30 teams or 32 teams in the NFL?
Yes.
I mean, that being said, we still ran the ball pretty well. So I guess silver linings.
So you add a guy on the outside. If you would have, the whole point is it was adding to what we already had to make it easier for Steph to get open. It was adding to what we already had to make Khalil Shakir have more room. So if you add to our D line, but you have to trade Greg Rousseau to get Myles Garrett, I don't want that. I want to put them together. Give me 2 guys on the edge that both can wreck a game on their own. And that's a huge difference. You want to beat the Chiefs, man. You go all in like this. You do what the Rams did. You have not really made this move with draft picks. You make little dinky trades. And for all it's worth, you trade these 3 firsts and a 4th and a 7th, and you get back a 4th and a 3rd or whatever, and who thinks Brandon Beane is better drafting in rounds 2 through 7 than in round 1? Because I sure do. Right?
Yeah. The results have showed that consistently. So
the part that I have a question for you guys here, and it's about McDermott's press conference at the end of the year. And we talked about wanting the ball down 1 score with the chance to win. And McDermott says we need another play from our quarterback. Like, we need to be able to capitalize on this. So I looked it up. Teams trailing with the ball with a chance to win were 10-24. Terrible stat also.
Yeah.
And
it's way worse than a coin flip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So to say we sign up for that.
Unless you filter that statistic for when the Bills defense is on the field, because the Bills defense.
Or when you filter that statistic for when Josh Allen's on the field too, I guess it would be, you know.
Josh Allen is the second best at that stat. I'll tell you right now, because Pat Mahomes is the best. He's the only quarterback in the NFL that's better than a coin flip, and Josh Allen is second, and he's worse than a coin flip.
Yeah. It pissed me off that McDermott said this, because then you look at the 40 drives that the Bills defense have faced in the elimination games from the playoffs this year. 40 drives. The defense has played 40 drives. 22 touchdowns, 9 field goals, 1 field goal missed, a couple of turnovers, and a couple turnovers on downs. The other teams average well over 4 points per drive against the Bills defense in playoff elimination games. The New England Patriots that went 16-0 averaged like 3.8 points per drive, and they were the all-time great offense. And you got a head coach who's a defensive coach sitting at the podium saying we needed our guy to make another play. It's like, what is wrong with you, McDermott? I was so mad.
You didn't force a punt in the first half.
No.
You got a couple of stops in the second half. You got a couple of turnovers that fell your way. There was the ball don't lie thing where Patrick Mahomes dropped the ball on the ground. Yep. That's not really your defense making a play. It's just, falling at that's fumble luck. And yeah, so it's like repeatedly, I mean, they did slightly more than they did. They weren't like
slightly more.
I was going to say they didn't collapse like they did in 13 seconds, but we're taking that as a gift, right?
They
like
collapsed in the first half, though. I think the collapse is in the first half.
Yeah, McDermott defense can't buy a stop for their life against scripted plays.
Yep.
So, I don't know. It is interesting.
That chart going around. Go ahead, Pat. Sorry.
It's shame on Joe Brady, though, too. I mean, so you have those two, is it on both 2-point conversions? You have a Josh Allen sneak, and then you have at least 2 4th downs where you don't convert. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, I mean, that's schematic. I feel like more so than anything. That just kind of upsets me.
Go ahead.
I don't know. At that point, like, also, if James Cook is your guy, if James Cook has the record for most rushing touchdowns in a season, why is he not, touching the ball? And at that rate, let him hold out. Don't pay him, So I don't know. It's just all very confusing.
And to sit here and talk about, oh my gosh, it just makes me upset. The fact that you need this guy to play better, like it's a joke, Sean.
You physically can't play better yet.
And the chart
you can't ask Josh Allen to be perfect all the time. He's Superman 75% of the time. You can't just expect we just needed Superman to be Superman 100% of the time instead of giving him support around him.
And maybe that's an indictment also in the offensive line blocking for him though too. I mean, maybe that's lost in translation, or maybe that's just Sean covering his own ass, I guess. I don't know.
Well, you're talking about Joe Brady. You disappointed at him. The Bills scored their season average of points. 29 points is what they averaged. They averaged 30 something. It was like a point less. The Chiefs had not scored more than 25 points all season. They had not cracked 30 points all season, and you couldn't do that in a playoff game. It's just, and then to say, Jeremy and Joe were talking about this, and Jeremy was like, Hasek makes 66 saves in a 2-1 loss, and it would be like Lindy Ruff going to the podium and say, we need Hasek to make one more. You have an all-time great. And I thought that was such a good thing. I'm not trying to steal it from him. I thought it was such a well-said statement that you have an all-time great here who stood on his head and kept your raggedy team into this game. And you're asking for more. Hasek wins MVP multiple times with the Sabres, and they had the lowest scoring offense in front of him. So we're talking, it brings me back to the Sabres here and the hope that we had. And you had one great player, the lead leaguer, the team leader for points in a season. A point per game is you're a good player. Nowadays, it's 100 points in 82 games, but back then it was 75 to 80 points, and their team lead in points during Hasek's years is like 60. So they're well below league average, and you're asking this guy to do a ton. And your defense, there's that chart where it's quarterback performance and defensive performance, and it's like all in the playoffs how the defense plays versus how the quarterback plays. And Allen's so far separate from everybody else because he has played so good, but the defense that he has had has played so bad, and it's not really even close. He's up there. I think Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson is up there. So a couple other quarterbacks that are veterans, but I was a little upset at Sean McDermott for saying that in the press conference. But then to circle back to what you said about Myles Garrett, Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott, I think McDermott's quote was, you need to have the top player
Difference makers,
at a couple of different positions. You need to have the first or second best player at 2 or 3 different positions on each side of the ball to win the Super Bowl. And Brandon Beane says, I would love to pay a guy $25 to $30 million a year, but they just don't come available too often. And then voila, a week later, Myles Garrett is available. So make it happen. Go get him. Yeah, go get him.
Go get him. Yeah, doesn't happen very often. Real quick here, we got to get out of here. But Cooper Kupp, good idea or not?
Nah, we got Khalil.
My thoughts exactly.
Yeah,
he's not
my thoughts exactly.
Not a vertical stretch the field guy.
No.
Desafortu, not a mente.
Not a spring chicken. I saw this too. Honestly, I feel like the wide receiver running back market is about to reset itself a little bit, because you look at the contract that Saquon Barkley got this offseason. It's about the same as the contract that Gabe Davis got. It's 3 years and about 35 to 37 million. I think Gabe Davis got more. So
Gabe Davis had 300 total yards catching this year.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if you're the team, like you're just allocating resources like, hey, would we rather have Saquon Barkley or Gabe Davis? I don't know. I don't think that there's not going to be a running back like that available this free agency. There's no Derrick Henry. There's no Saquon Barkley that's going to go into free agency this time around. But I don't know. I feel like it's going to reset roster makeup.
I would agree only if the Eagles win the game, though, because if you think about what Kareem Hunt's making, if you think about what Isaiah Pacheco's making, they're not making very much at all. Yeah. So
that's true. That's true. But the reason why the Eagles are here, I think, is more due to Saquon Barkley than any other running back contributes to their team. And of course, a lot of that's offensive line and stuff like that. But I mean, the fact that we are even talking about a running back he was even in the running for, regular season MVP, any of that stuff, that's kind of rare. So running backs, you have unicorns, but again, because of the nature of the position, they're paid less than average wide receivers. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that contributes to running back contracts going forward. So last thing I want to bring up, because we talked about this before the show, Cam Newton came out this week. Speaking of which, so Josh, I guess we're gonna find out this weekend. Wait, when is the NFL honors? I thought is that soon?
Saturday.
Saturday? Okay, it's the night before the Super Bowl. Okay. So we're going to find out if Josh Allen won MVP or not. Cam Newton came out and said, he was asked by Stephen A. Smith, I believe, would you have traded your MVP for a Super Bowl? Which to any athlete of any team sport probably would have answered this question with, of course, right? Would have loved to get one from my guys. I appreciate the guys that I played with. I think that would have been like, the coach. You put your name down in history. And what does Cam Newton say instead? Nah, I did my part and it's an individual award, but I just, I did my job. He's
just like you traded a computer for your career at University of Florida, Cam, right?
I think the example he brought up was that, well, Nick Foles has a ring. So do they really mean that much? And I'm going to sit here and say, yeah, they do.
I can't stand it, man. I want to give this 30 seconds and not a second longer to this clown show who goes on there. There's no way. There has to be a production meeting before they go out there where Cam's like, I'm going to say something that's going to ruffle some feathers.
Yeah,
there's no way that this is genuine. I cannot stand the man. You didn't dive on a fumble in the Super Bowl.
Well, that would be my thing. If Cam Newton went out there and got hit helicopter style like John Elway and they lose the game, then absolutely, yeah, dude, you can say that. But
you played like a baby in the Super Bowl. You cost your team, man. I can't stand it. I hate that he's like a talking head now. I cannot stand him. I hated him before. I've told you the story about the Buffalonians that sat next to him on the airplane when he on his draft visit and how much of a he was to everybody. I can't stand him. The fact that he would even say that as an athlete is a disgrace to any athlete in any level of league, from beer league to the NFL, to do anything. There's people.
Brandon, think about, you're going to want to do Zumba someday, and you're going to want a high level instructor to be able to get you to that calorie count that you need to burn per Zumba session. You got to think about Cam's that guy. So maybe we should stop trashing him, because we're all going to have to get into a high level Zumba class at some point. And I want to make sure we're in his good graces.
I'll put you in a good Zumba class at a Buffalo YMCA. I have friends that do that. I hate him, man. I can't stand it.
Oh.
Should we pick the game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We should do that.
So, to win a Super Bowl is tough, which Cam Newton has no clue how to do. But Pat Mahomes knows what he's doing here. Jalen Hurts is trying to get that monkey off his back. But this Sunday, this ain't the little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is the Super Bowl. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hosting the Vince Lombardi Trophy, and you have a shot to score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code NABP. That is code NABP for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resorts, 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. So last game pick of the year, one game that we're not going to watch, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles in New Orleans for the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Chiefs -1.5 point favorite, Eagles +1.5. Now, Pat, you said it before, you lose the first Super Bowl, you're kind of screwed. And I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm not going to pick them against. I'm kind of with you, man. You don't bet against them, right?
Yeah, well, I would like to pay homage to Donovan McNabb and Ron Jaworski for their valiant efforts in Eagles Super Bowls in the past. And I'd also like to pay homage to this amazing sweater that I have from those guys. So, great plug.
Shout out homage.
Yes.
Our affiliate link is in the show notes if you want some homage gear. So
yes, so paying homage to those guys and the voodoo magic that Patrick Mahomes will pull ultimately to win the game. So unfortunately, I'll take the Chiefs. But
give me the Eagles +1.5 out of spite, pure spite. Also, I believe mathematically I've got things locked up, right? I don't have to worry about this.
Wait, hold up. Well, I got you guys on that last game. Let's be rizzity real.
I think you did, Pat. No, I think I had things locked up before the championship game. So.
You did too, John.
Which I looked back at our game pick spreadsheets from the years, and I'm rolling it forward. We'll do overall records after this year. I'll add stuff in at the end of this one. But Brando and I have alternated championships here for the 4 years that we've done it. So the championship trophy is coming home here.
Coming home, he says. Oh, God.
No, I was going to say, so Brandon, you must have won the first one then.
I did. By a lot.
You did.
Yeah,
by a lot. Yes.
By a lot.
I remember vividly.
Yeah. So my victories have been slimmer margins. So Brandon probably still has the overall head-to-head. But we did have a listener reach out and offer to sponsor a Game Picks trophy that we can use going forward. So if you're still interested, reach out to us again. Message us on Instagram again, because I think I found a trophy that we can use where
we have his message. We can reach out to him.
Yeah. So we have I found this really nice crystal Game Picks trophy that I was like trying to find a cheap one, right? But it's like this one's like it's like $40-$50 or something like that. But we'll use it for forever, and then we can put the little gold plates on the side and carry it forward. Yeah. So each year has it on there. We'll just order a new plate each year, and then we'll do it like the Stanley Cup, where the reigning winner gets to keep it for the year. So
it's gonna go right there.
I was gonna say, so for the next year, it's gonna be sitting right on this shelf over here if we can do that. But anyway, that'd be fun to do that. So again, thank you everyone for listening. We'll be back next week, right? Talking Bills all off season. We might take some weeks off here and there, but we're gonna be here having some fun, hanging out most weeks for the entire off season. So stick with us for sure. And you can find us on all platforms at Not Buff Podcast. Again, shout out to Homage for sending us this sweet gear. Check out the link in the show notes if you want to check out the best vintage Bills gear there is around. It's the softest. It's the best.
So comfy.
It doesn't shrink on you. It's so good. I've been wearing mine constantly. And again, thank you to Small City Realty, 585-409-1088. Call Zach if you need a house in Western New York. All right. Well, we'll see you gentlemen next week. And as always, go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.